Hi guys, this is Riff Lenore. This is RonZak talks about Henry Ford Part 4. I was not expecting to have 4 parts, but this is the last part, and I know it because I'm not gonna read a lot. Plus, there's not a lot of battery life left for this. Okay, this is racing. Ford maintained an interest in auto racing from 1901 to 1913 and began his involvement in the sport in both a builder and a driver, later turning the wheel over to hired drivers. He entered stripped down Model Ts in races, finishing first, although later disqualified in an ocean-to-ocean across the United States race in 1909, and setting a 1-mile oval speed record at Detroit Fairgrounds in 1911 with driver Frank Kolick. In 1913, Ford attempted to enter a reworked Model T in the Indianapolis 500, but was told rules required the addition of another 1,000 pounds to the car before it could qualify. Ford dropped out of the race as soon thereafter dropped out of racing permanently, citing dissatisfaction with the sports rules demands on his time by the booming production of the Model Ts and his low opinion of racing and a worthwhile activity. In My Life and Work, Ford speaks briefly of racing in a rather dismissive tone as something that is not at all a good measure of automobiles in general. He describes himself as someone who raced only because in the 1890s through the 1910s, one had to race because prevailing ignorance held that racing was the way to prove the worth of an automobile. Ford did not agree, but he was determined that as long as this was the definition of success, flawed though the definition was, then his cars would be the best that there were at racing. Throughout the book, he continually returned the ideals such as transportation, production, efficiency, affordability, reliability, fuel efficiency, economic prosperity, and the automation of drudgery in farming and industry, but rarely mentions and rather abilities the idea of merely going fast from point A to point B. Nevertheless, Ford did make quite an impact on auto racing during his racing years.
The cup came in.
Cool. And
that's what you're giving to Brittany.
And he was inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame in America in 1996.
You looking at it? Because I got to put it back on the thing.
I like it. I really do.
She'll like it too.
It's a little bit warm.
Yeah, it was out in the mailbox. I wish I would have did that
Do, do, do. It's the same day as yours. Well, later career and death. When Edsel, president of Ford Motor Company, died of cancer in May 1943, the elderly and ailing Henry Ford decided to assume the presidency. By this point in his life, he had had several events, I don't even know, variously cited as heart attack or stroke, and was mentally inconsistent, suspicious, and generally no longer fit for such immense responsibilities. Most of the directors did not want to see him as president, but the previous 20 years, though he had long been without an official exclusive title, he had always had de facto control over the company. The board and the management had never seriously defied him, and this moment was not different. The directors elected him, and he served until the end of World War. During this period, the company began to decline, losing more than $10 million a month. I'm not even going to read that one. Administration of President Franklin Roosevelt had been considering a government takeover of the company to order the ensure continued war production, but the idea never progressed. In ill health, Ford said the president, I don't know, said the presidency to his grandson Henry Ford II, September 1945, and went into retirement. He died in 1947 of a cerebral hemorrhage at age 83 in Fairlane, his Dearborn estate. A public viewing was held at Greenfield Village, where up to 5,000 people per hour filled past a casket. Funeral services were held in Detroit Cathedral Church of St. Paul, and he was buried in the Ford Cemetery in Detroit. That was it. That's it. That's all we're going to read. Actually, no. What did I say? There's one more thing I was going to read. Yeah, that's right. Personal interest. Condamentum of short biographies of famous Freemason, published by a Freemason Lodge, lists Ford as a member. In 1923, Ford's pastor and head of his sociology department, Episcopal minister Samuel S. Marquis, claimed that Ford believed, or once believed, in reincarnation. Ford published a book circulating at circulating to youth in 1914 called The Case Against the Little White Slaver, yeah, Little White Slaver, which documented many dangers of cigarette smoking tested to by many researchers in luminaries. Oh, okay, I don't want that. Anyways, guys. That was it. Anyways, that was it. That was the story of Henry Ford. I know I skipped a huge part because there was huge parts, huge part, a huge part in another part. Just that I hated the part. I just didn't want to read it because then it would waste my time, and I don't really have enough battery life left to do that. So I hope you enjoyed this episode in part. Episode in part. And share.